Mr. President, before the senator from Illinois leaves the floor, I just want to thank him for his amazing leadership on this whole issue of immigration. He and I share a similar background because my mother also was an immigrant. And the thought of our moms being ripped out of our lives is just untenable. And we're not going to let it happen. And I want to thank him so much because, he has just been I would say, the grandfather of the whole dreamer movement. So thank you, Senator. Mr. President, we all know Republicans won in huge numbers in the 2014 election, and they took over the United States Senate, and they run it. They run it, or at least they're trying to run it. And let's be clear, less than 8 weeks after they took over the Senate, we're facing a shutdown of the very agency that protects the health, the safety, the lives of the American people, the Department of Homeland Security. We are 4 days away. And even if they come up with a continuing resolution, small little patch here, they're shutting down the program that funds our police officers back home, our firefighters, our first responders. So any way you look at it, this is a national disgrace. And think about what our friends abroad and those who are not our friends are thinking about this. Republicans say, oh, we're in danger, we have to go to war, put combat troops on the ground, but they're willing to shut down the department that protects Americans here in the homeland from a terrorist attack. This is a self-inflicted crisis made up by the Republicans. It is dangerous. It is the height of irresponsibility, and it is unnecessary. And let me tell you, how does it make sense in the very same week that terrorists are threatening our shopping malls, that we would shut down the very agency charged with protecting those malls? How does it make sense at a time when we are facing serious threats to our national security to furlough 30,000 Department of Homeland Security workers and to force more than 100,000 frontline Homeland Security personnel to work without pay? Why don't these senators go without their pay? Give up your pay. You want to come to work every day and stand there and look for threats to our homeland and worry about how you're going to pay the bill for your kid? Go without pay before you do this. You tell me how that makes sense, not to pay people who are in charge of our security. It's a disgrace. Give up your pay. Give up your pay. Give up your health care. Give up your benefits if this is so important to you. Oh, no, they'll collect their pay. Tell me, how does it make sense to shut off the grants that protect our cities, our ports from terrorist attacks? And how does it make sense to stop local communities from being able to hire police officers and firefighters? You know, the Department of Homeland Security is very, very large. When it was created, I was troubled by that because it includes so many important things in one department, including FEMA. So that when we have a natural disaster, such as an earthquake, fire, and a flood, that's the department that deals with it. So how does it make sense to disrupt disaster recovery operations like the efforts in California to recover from our devastating Napa quake and the rim fire near Yosemite? So not only are they disrupting Homeland Security and the protection of our perhaps targeted places in America, but they're disrupting recovery from natural disasters, and God forbid if we had another one. And here's the reason they're doing it. They're throwing a hissy fit because the president stepped in and has a policy to take care of immigration. And why did the president step in? Because Republicans refused to take up a bipartisan bill and pass it and take care of the immigration problem the way they're supposed to. They're paralyzed on that point. They can't do it. We had a bill that garnered 68 votes in the last Congress. All they have to do is bring it up, pass it here, pass it in the House. It will pass by overwhelming majorities. The president will sign it, and that would make his executive orders unnecessary. The only reason he issued executive orders is we're facing a crisis here with 11 million undocumented folks, some of whom are these dreamers, which is the most important category to me, of young people who were brought here when they were children. They know no other home. All they want to do is stay here and give back to America. They want to deport them. And they want to deport their parents. And they want to deport the parents of American citizens. I thank God these people weren't in charge of the Congress when I was growing up, because they might have deported my mother. It took her a while to get through her naturalization. What if they had passed something like that? I thought they were the party of family values. Show me where that's true, ripping families apart. I thought they're the party of economic prosperity. Show me how that's true when we know from study after study that one of the greatest things we can do for our economy and job creation is get people out of the shadows so they can go and buy a home and hold a good job. They can't or won't pass an immigration bill. They will not do their job. So when the president steps in and does his job, they say, oh, this is terrible. Let's shut down a totally unrelated department, the Department of Homeland Security. Now, again, I say, let's look at fiscal responsibility. According to the Center for American Progress, it would cost more than $50 billion to deport the entire population, that the president is protecting. And here's the deal. I never heard a Republican, and I will stand corrected if any Republican corrects me, I never heard of a Republican complaining when President Eisenhower used his executive order power to help immigrants, when President Nixon did the same thing to protect immigrants, when President Ronald Reagan, their hero, protected immigrants, when George Bush Sr. protected immigrants, when George W. Bush protected immigrants. They all used their authority. Show me one Republican that stood up and said, oh, this is outrageous, let's impeach the president. But it's President Obama, and they're annoyed because he won twice. Sorry, wake up and smell the roses. He is the president. And he is doing the right thing for America because he loves America. And he understands that these are people who are going to help America move on to an era of greatness and keep going. Now, here are the people Republicans want to support. There are young people like Alex Bucks, B-U-X, a 21-year-old student from Central California. He's the oldest of 3 siblings. The younger 2 were born in the U.S., but he wasn't, okay? So these great family value Republicans want to rip away the oldest child from the family. His parents were farm workers in the fields of San Joaquin Valley. Alexis received immigration relief under DACA in 2012, and he'll transfer to UC San Diego this fall, where he will pursue his dream of a career in biomedical engineering. So tell me, Republicans, how is our country better when you deport a young man like this? He hopes to use his education to develop sophisticated medical applications and tools to help cure deadly diseases. All he wants to do is contribute to this nation that he loves. If the Republicans had their way, They deport people like Ana Albarrán, who left Mexico at age 8. Age 8, she came here with her younger brother and sister to join her parents. Her parents worked 11 hours a day as trimmers for a landscaping company in downtown Los Angeles. After Ana received immigration relief, she felt confident to begin applying for jobs, and now she's finishing her final year at UC Merced so she can begin her career as a bilingual first-grade teacher. So tell me, Republicans, how does it make sense to deport people like Ana and split her up from her parents when all they want to do is contribute to the country that they love? How does it make sense? How does it make sense? Because you're too incompetent to hold a vote on your immigration plan? You want to kick people out of the country? Put it to a vote. Let's go. You want to deport 11 million people? Put it to a vote. Don't hide behind the Homeland Security bill and holding the president's work hostage. You never did it to the other presidents. Don't do it to this president. How does it make sense to deport these moms, these dads, these young kids? I mentioned before that I am the daughter of an immigrant mother. You know, I try to think of what my life would be without my mother. She gave me my conscience. She gave me my values. She gave me all the love and support I needed to pursue my dreams. A daughter of an immigrant mother who never graduated from high school in the United States Senate. But they would have deported my mother. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my mom. So you tell me how it makes sense to deport moms and dads and rip apart the lives of children. Our national security is at stake. Our national security is at stake. Our family values are at stake. And our economy is at stake here. So get over the fact that you don't like the president. We get it. You couldn't beat him. Too bad for you. But you're in charge here in the Senate. Do your job. Bring an immigration bill to the floor. Let's let this Homeland Security bill go. It's a bipartisan bill. It's funding for the most important thing we're doing today. Let it go. Don't hold it hostage to your hatred of this president. And I use that word because that's what I think. That's what I think. In California alone, the president's executive actions could boost California's economy by as much as $27.5 billion. The president's action will aid our economy. It will raise the nation's gross domestic product by up to $90 billion over the next 10 years by expanding the labor force and allowing immigration workers the flexibility to seek new jobs. Why is that the case? Why does every independent study show us this is the case? The reason is simple. When workers come out of the shadows, their wages rise, they open bank accounts, they buy homes, they start businesses, and they spend money in their communities. So I say to my Republican friends, there's a presidential race coming. Forget this last one. Get over it, okay? Let's work together. Listen, I served with 5 presidents. I'm a strong Democrat. Everyone will tell you that. But I had respect for the office of the presidency. If I didn't agree with Ronald Reagan, I came down here and said it. But we had the respect back and forth. If we lost, we moved on. And that went both ways. I know what it is not to like the policies of a president. I get it. But don't overdo it and make it so personal. Get on with it. Grow up. Do your job. You know? Do your job. Have respect for the office of the presidency. Don't suddenly say executive orders are bad when the president you don't like does it, but you don't say one word when a Republican president does the same thing. It doesn't pass the smell test. So 3 things couldn't be more important in this battle. We need to fund our Department of Homeland Security, especially at this time when we face serious threats to our security. We need to uphold our family values and not split up loving families. And we need to protect and grow our economy. We can do this in the simplest way. First, bring up, I say to the House Leader Boehner, Speaker Boehner, because under the Constitution, all funding bills start in the House, send us a clean bill. The bill that everybody supported before you made it hostage to this immigration issue. Send it over clean. Let's fund everything in that bill to protect our shopping malls, to give grants to first responders, to give grants to our local police and fire. Send it over, we'll pass it, and immediately following, bring up an immigration bill. We've got it all ready for you. It passed with 68 votes. Not much work to do. And then the president's executive orders will not be necessary because we'll have taken the steps ourselves to fix our broken immigration system. Let's stop the lawsuits. We've got one judge who said there was overreach. The next judge may say there's no overreach. Let's keep this out of the courts. Let's do our job. Let's stop this self-inflicted crisis. Let's stop this shadow that's hanging over the nation. Let's do the right thing here. We can protect the American people from threats to our national security. We can protect and grow our economy. And we can treat hardworking immigrants and their families with the dignity and respect that they deserve. It all lies in the hands of Speaker Boehner and Leader McConnell. When you took over the Senate, you said, no more threats of shutdowns. 8 weeks later, not even, we're facing, a shutdown of one of the most important departments. This is a disgrace. It's self-inflicted. All you have to do is talk to Speaker Boehner, send over a clean bill, we'll vote it, and then we'll take up immigration, and you can show us all your great ideas on immigration. Let's hear them. You want to deport the dreamers? Come on with it. We'll have a vote. You want to deport the parents? Come on with it. We'll have a vote. You want to kick 11 million people out? Come on with it. We'll have a vote on it. We'll have a debate. But don't hold the Department of Homeland Security hostage to this issue. If there's one thing the American people hate more than anything else, is attaching unrelated matters to spending bills. I don't care if they're conservative Republicans or liberal Democrats or independent voters. They think it is the dumbest idea. They really do. They don't understand it. Pass your funding bills, then battle your ideological issues separately and apart from that. Don't hold these departments hostage to your decision that President Obama did the wrong thing. If you don't like what he did, put forward your own bill. You haven't even done that. I've been here a long time. I'll tell you something. I've never seen anything like this. A self-inflicted wound. And who gets hurt? Not the Republicans. They'll keep getting their pay. They're fine. But the people that we trust and we count on, and the families that thought they could stay together, they were on the verge of that. This is what this party, the grand old party, the GOP, this is what they have brought. But they can get out of it in 5 minutes. Speaker Boehner can pass a funding bill. It'll pass in a heartbeat. Send it over here. We'll pass it. We'll turn to immigration and have it out on that subject. I think it's worthy of a debate. But you don't hold an important funding bill hostage to that debate. It is ridiculous, unnecessary, destructive, and cruel. And with that, I would yield the floor, and I would note the absence of a quorum.